Hey, little mama. It's a little nuts out there when it comes to tech. I know because when I get your DMs and I get your emails, there's a couple things that are the very most important. And in the parenting section of the questions that you ask me, you're always asking about tech. How can I keep my family safe? What is the options? What do I do? When do I give them the phone? What do I do when they go over to someone else's house? What are the apps that are popular now that I don't know, and I don't know if my kids have it? We're all feeling that way. It's not a really safe lockdown world right now, but there are people that can help us. And today, on Moms Like Us Do Things Like This, I have got someone really special. I have found someone that I've been following, and I think you are going to really learn some great things from what she has to say. Stay tuned. Welcome to the Moms Like Us podcast, where moms just like you learn strategies, systems, and skills through expert interviews and real-life insight designed to take your marriage, mothering, and home to the expert level. Hi, I'm Mona Corwin, your mom mentor and host, author, international speaker, and the founder of the Moms Like Us Academy. I've been coaching moms for over 25 years, and I have some really good news for you. Motherhood isn't a natural talent. It's a skill, and you can learn it. You can crush it at motherhood instead of motherhood crushing you. So let's get to today's show. Okay, in just a minute, I'm going to have Sarah Kimmel come up and visit us on Moms Like Us Do Things Like This. Now, Sarah is really special. Not only is she a mom, but she was a corporate IT manager. So she knows tech. She loves tech. She doesn't think tech's bad. She wants tech to be manageable and usable and safe and friendly for the family, which is why her YouTube channel, which is so popular, and you're going to want to join, you're going to want to see all of this stuff, but wait till after you see her on my show, because she's going to encourage you, and you are going to learn some things, and you're going to feel better. You're going to be able to take a big... Sarah is going to help you. After she had her first son, she went home and she started with her tech stuff. And she went through several different phases until she came to the family tech time. And I'm telling you, you're going to be blessed. All righty. So as I'm telling you this, Sarah's sitting in the green room, and I'm going to bring her up. Hey, Sarah, welcome to the show. I'm so excited.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, you are just a ray of sunshine. I love to see your stuff come across. When I eat my lunch, lots of times I'll go in, because you don't just talk about tech too. You've added in like the government stuff and some of that, the politics of all of it, and scams. I'm really enjoying the scams stuff. And you're interviewing experts on your own show that are going to help moms and like that. So tell me, how did you get started with all this? I think I know because I kind of follow you, so I do. But tell the moms all about you.
Yeah, like you said, I've been in corporate IT, so I've been an IT manager for over 20 years. And I would always have my friends coming to me like, hey, all the same questions that people are asking now. But they knew I knew a lot about technology just because of my job. And so finally I was like, you know what? I'm putting it all in a blog. You can go there. Because I'm just tired of repeating myself over and over with just my friends. And so I started my blog back in about 2009 and was just writing it all. And then, as you said, I've kind of pivoted to more YouTube content and video content on Instagram and things like that. But I've always been about, teaching people how to be the expert in technology in their home. So be the IT manager of your own home, be the tech expert of your own home, because it's not super hard. Just you need to have a little bit of knowledge, do a little bit of research, and you can figure just about anything out.
Oh, that is so. This is what I'm talking about. When we're feeling so ooey about it, you can get Sarah and her sweet smile and her super cute hair, And you're going to listen to her for a few minutes. You're going to be, I can do this. Because the truth is, we really can. And there are lots of things out there. And if you're in the Moms Like Us Academy, you're going to be getting some really good experts inside of there that are going to give you like real step-by-step meaning. And I'm excited for you to get a hold of this and not let it grip you in the fear that it is. It's just a lie. It's a lie. Tech isn't going anywhere. We would love to all just shut it down, but it's not going anywhere. And so we have to learn how to manage it. So Sarah, I'm just going to start out. We all know the dangers. We all do. But can you talk to us about the mental health issues that are really now being reported? Because we're into this now. You have an 18-year-old son. My kids are
Daughter.
I'm sorry, daughter. And
My 14-year-old is a boy. Yeah.
well, there you go.
Yeah.
There, you got them both. But
I do.
when we have the, from my point of view, when I was looking for Sarah and couldn't find her in 2009, we didn't have the abilities that we do now. So, but we also don't have the results and the statistics that we do now. So let's talk about the mental health here. We're going to go a little hard and a little soft, we'll still make it a little fun, but we need to talk about really how bad it really can be for our kids in the mental health area.
Absolutely. So the social Surgeon General, I was going to say the Social General, no, the Surgeon General of the United States recently put out a health advisory about social media and teens' mental health. And I was prepared to hate this advisory because I don't like a lot of government regulation and a lot of government like warnings, because a lot of it can be real fear mongering and I really hate the fear mongering. And so I don't want to instill fear in parents because, like you said, this tech stuff is not going away, and we need to learn how to live with it and learn how to make it manageable and not affect our mental health. So I actually really enjoyed the Surgeon General's.
My phone's dinging. I apologize.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
Go ahead.
So I really enjoyed the Surgeon General's advisory because he actually really goes about both sides, how good it can be and how damaging it can be, and the kind of things you can do to kind of mitigate those dangers. And I loved his advice because it's exact advice that I would give. The first one is limit time. So the most damage that is caused is when kids are spending unlimited amount of time on social media. If you limit it, and in the advisory, it had some statistics where if they just limited it to a half an hour or to an hour a day, the damaging effects were a lot less in the kids that limited it just to that much. Like, so you don't even need to eliminate it completely. Just limiting the time spent during the day is going to go so far in helping teens overcome that like mental health hurdle. The other thing, and he also mentioned this, is making sure they're getting adequate sleep. And I have been preaching this for years and years and years. I've been a huge stickler about bedtime for, as long as I've had a baby. Okay, it's 7 o'clock. It's time for them to go to bed. So I've always been like really strict about bedtime. And even with my 18-year-old and 14-year-old, I'm still very strict about bedtime. Because I think the lack of sleep is really where a lot of this mental health struggle is coming from. And I really talk about it because my son, the first night that he slept through the night, and he started sleeping through the night well before my daughter ended up sleeping through the night. So I was really grateful for that. But the first night he slept through the night, I woke up the next day and I could think clearly, and I felt like a completely new person. And in that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, sleep is so important, because otherwise I am foggy. I'm not making rational decisions. And that's the same thing for our kids. If they're up all night on social media or looking at the internet or anything like that, the next day, they're not going to be making rational decisions. They're not going to be thinking clearly. They're not going to have a good experience at school. They're going to have more depression. And so those two things, I think, especially from the Surgeon General's warning and things that I've been talking about forever also, really resonated with me to help teens really overcome the bad that can come with social media, and really be able to embrace the good.
That is really good. I'm glad to hear that they said that. We're talking about sleep in all arenas and how we all need our sleep. And just having that phone next to their bed, I'm sure you don't advocate that. But I mean, just that blink, blink, blink in the face as it's, going through the night. When I think about the mental health issues, my thought immediately goes to the girls because of the social media and the comparing and, more than just the physical chemical kind of things from the phone. I'd like to talk about EMFs too. EMFs, right?
EMF, I think.
EMF?
Like the frequency? Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, well, I'd like to talk to you about that too. But all of the things that are going on for the girls with the social media and on the phone and texting and literally being depressed because they feel left out. They're just so social and all of that. What are you seeing with that?
Yeah. So back in my day when, if you had a pager, you were a drug dealer. And so that's kind of where I came from in the 90s, where, I mean, you kind of knew who the popular kids were, but you still had your own group, and, everything was basic 90s high school. But these days, when you look at social media, they actually have quantifiable data as to like who's popular and who's not. So this person posts a picture and I posted a picture at the same time, and they have like 1,000 likes on their picture, and I only have like 10 likes on my picture. So it's really hard for them because they've got like actual data to show that like basically they're not as good as as their friend or as somebody else they know. And so that can really be damaging. And the other thing, like with Snapchat, they have these things called streaks. So if I Snapchat you back and forth, every day that we Snapchat with each other, our streak like increases. So like I have a 10-day streak of where I've Snapchatted you for the last 10 days. Well, kids these days are using their streaks as a relationship indicator. Like I have a better relationship with you because my streak is 100 days, but I don't have as good of a relationship with you because my streak is like 2 days. And this gets them into this like real addictive behavior of like, I have to keep up my streaks or else, it doesn't seem like I'm as good a friend to this person or not. So it's all of this like real quantifiable data that is harming the kids. And so there's a few things like Instagram has done something so you can hide the amount of likes that you get, and Snapchat, you can help them see that streaks do not equal a relationship and things like that. But these conversations are going to be really important to help them see their own worth, and not tie that worth to how many likes or anything that they're getting. The other thing with that is they can get into a place where their algorithm is just showing them stuff that is making them feel bad about themselves. So another thing I'd like to talk about is training the algorithm. So if I have something where, like cookies are a big trigger for me or something, where I see a cookie and I have to have one. So if I'm going through my Instagram feed and I'm seeing like Crumble's latest like cookies of the week, I can unfollow Crumble, or I can tell Instagram that I don't want to see this type of content. And then it's going to help me customize my feed to where it's a safer place for me to be. And so if that means I need to hide friends that make me feel bad, or if I need to unfollow the accounts that also make me feel bad, giving them kind of the license to do that, you know. And since the algorithm is always changing, say you hide a friend of yours and your friend's like, oh, did you see when I posted this thing on Instagram? You can blame the algorithm. Oh no, Facebook must not have shown that to me. I don't know why. But you can hide them, and you can stay friends with them, and so they won't even really know that you're not seeing their content. So really just customizing your algorithm to where you are just seeing stuff that is going to uplift you instead of make you feel bad.
And the streak thing with does that I don't have to ask if it does. I know it does. It escalates what girls will do online to keep a streak going with guys.
Maybe. I think it's very possible for sure. If they refuse to snap you back until like you give them something, you know, salacious or whatever. I could see that happening. I don't see it as much with the inappropriate content. I would say that happens more with somebody they're in a relationship with or something like that. And then the relationship turns, as most high school relationships do. And then that content is out there, and then they're sharing it with other people, or with these sextortion stuff where they're messaging with somebody they don't know. They think it's somebody else, or they've like developed a relationship, and then they send them an inappropriate image, and then the person turns and is like, okay, now I'm going to send this to everybody unless you give me money and things like that. So that's a real danger with that inappropriate content. But with the streaks, I would say it's just more of a like, people that you are talking to on a regular basis. And you just have to keep that streak alive, or else, you're not as good of friends with that person.
Yeah, and everybody can see it. So you can see that so and so isn't texting you as much as she is texting your friend, or she's texting your best friend more than she's texting you.
Right.
And that causes stuff. That is such a mess. That is such a mess. I don't see the value in that other than the addictive, which is what they want.
Right,
so
exactly.
The biggest thing I'm hearing from you is that these things are out there. You need to know about streaks. You need to know about these kind of things, which Sarah helps us know. But relationship with your child is number one in all areas. The good areas, being on a swim team, being no matter what they're doing. If they're in tech, not in tech, if they're eating out of the refrigerator, if they're drinking too much, Orange Crush, like all of those things. Relationship with your children is vital and so necessary. You have to learn to communicate with your kids. Would you agree?
Yeah, that 110%. I always talk about these like layers of parental controls. And the fifth layer of parental controls is conversations. And that's because no matter how Fort Knox your home is, I'm an IT manager. I am an expert in technology. And I know my kids can get around everything I've put in place. And so I can't rely on the technology to keep my kids safe. I need to rely on the fact that if my son comes across something inappropriate, he will come and tell me that he's run across something inappropriate. Or if he's continued to look, and this situation has happened where my son will come and say, hey, I saw something inappropriate, and then I kept looking for that content, but because we have that relationship, he knows if he comes and talks to me about it, it's going to be a lot better for him than if I've just discovered what's going on. And so, he gets in a whole lot less trouble. And most of the time, if he comes and tells me, he won't get in trouble at all. we'll just say, okay, I'm sorry. I usually say, I'm sorry that happened. Where did you see it? So we can maybe try and lock that out. Or, if it's a site that he wants to continue to go to, I'm like, oh, okay, so you were able to get to inappropriate content on this site. Do you want me to block this site so it's not a temptation? Or do you think you can avoid it? And he'll make that decision if it's a site, he continues to want to go to. If it's a site that I feel is completely inappropriate, I'll be like, yeah, sorry, I'm going to block that. But, having that conversation and being able to discuss these things frequently with your kids is going to be so important. And like I was mentioning with the sextortion stuff, most of those extortion things are successful because their kid is afraid to come and tell their parents what happened. Like, because they made a mistake. They sent an inappropriate picture to somebody that they didn't know. And sometimes they might know the person, right? But they're afraid to come and tell their parents, and then that's how it really escalates. And I've seen people harm themselves, and teens harm themselves over these sextortion scandals because they're afraid to come and talk. And so I just, anytime I see something like that in the news, I'll be like, hey, kid of mine, like, let's read this news article. Like, what do you think about that? Do you think you would fall victim to that? Like, how would you avoid this situation? Or, things like that, where again, I'm not trying to instill fear in them, but I still want to talk to them about the dangers that are out there, so that they can avoid it.
That is really, really good advice, Sarah. I asked my son one day when it was just kind of getting out of control. It's not as bad as now, but all the blocks and everything weren't working for the moms, and that we were in our little gang. We were trying to be there together. And I went to my son and I said, buddy, like, what can we do? What can we do to help you kids? Because we do have a good relationship. And he said, Mom, you're doing everything you can that's good, that's out there with the blocks and all. We got our computers turned around, so everything's forward facing. And he said the truth is they just need a little piece of gadget to stick in there, and everything can be on there.
Right.
And I said, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? I feel sick. And he said, Mom, it's not until the kid, wants to in his heart that it's going to work. And then to be able to talk about it when it happens.
Yep.
And I thought, that is so true. So for me, as a mom coach, I'm going to encourage moms that, like, Sarah's going to help you with all the things that we can do in the real realm, but we have to get to their hearts, and we have to have their want to be there. And when that want to is there, then when the slip up comes, and I promise you it will happen to you and your kid. It happened in my house, and I've been doing it forever. And it wasn't a son.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that when that happens, the shame, the guilt, the embarrassment, the humility, they're humiliated.
Yeah.
And they're so embarrassed that they let it happen to them. Because we know when we've done something wrong. We have to let them know in advance. If this happens, and it probably will, I want you to be able to come to me so I can help you. I don't want you to have that hook in you that keeps you pulled down. And I think that this is the key. And then the lock is what Sarah's got. We can have all the locks that we have and all the information that we have, but without that key to go in and use everything, and that key is your child's heart and his relationship with you. So, in the Moms Like Us Academy, we've got that virtue project that really helps work on all those pieces of character in you and your kids. And these things are really important, and they're kind of being missed now in our culture. So I want to encourage you, the ones of you that are in the Moms Like Us Academy already have access to it. But if you don't, please DM us and we'll try to get you that so that you can get started working on the character of your kid's heart. let's talk about things that are against our kids' hearts. Sarah, we've got to talk about the influencers. We just got to talk about it. How do we know if one's good or not?
Yeah. Honestly, and because all the kids want to be YouTube influencers for
Sure
sure.
do.
And it's funny because a lot of parents will come to me like, "Oh, hey, I want to encourage my son. He wants to like be a YouTube gamer and whatever."
They all
And I
do.
know, they really all do. And I always say like, yeah, go for it, but don't do anything for them. Like, you have them do it all, and I swear they will lose interest.
Because you and I both know that having to do all this stuff online is not as easy as it looks.
Right, it's a lot of work, and so, as soon as they and then if they're willing to put in the work, then, like, great, that's awesome, but, 95% of the kids are going to, like, give up after, a couple weeks, likely. So, instead of just keep telling them, "No, no, no," you're like, "Yeah, go for it, let's see what you do," like, record it, edit the video, put it up there. But on the other side, yes, so there's a ton of influencers that are out there. And what I just like to do, I would vet it, just like you would a movie or a game or anything. If there's a particular YouTube channel that they really like to watch a few episodes. And I know sometimes it's not interesting to us, it can be just mind numbing. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is like so boring. But, making sure, because every family is going to be different. So I'm not going to say, okay, this influencer is good and this influencer is bad, because every family has different rules and mores, and something that's inappropriate for my house might be appropriate in your house. And so what I would just do is, okay, you want to watch videos from this particular influencer, or you like to follow this particular Instagram account. I'd follow them for a while and check out what kind of content they're producing before I say, okay, yeah, that sounds good. Same thing, like if my son wanted to watch a particular movie, I'd watch the movie first, and then I'm like, okay, yeah, that's okay for you to watch. And so just really getting involved, and I know it takes time and it's going to take a lot out of your day, but making sure that they're not getting into content that you don't approve of is going to be important. So, and the really only way to do that is to watch it yourself and see if that's the kind of content that's okay for your family.
Oh, that's really, really good advice. Can we just touch on smart TVs?
Sure.
What's going on with the smart TVs? Can they really see us through the hole?
No.
They can't? I'm asking. I'm like, I feel like I need to put a
I
Band-Aid
mean, it
up
depends on
there.
what you've got, but most of them don't have a camera.
They don't?
Like, I would say, like, no, they don't have a camera. They've got like an IR infrared so that
Oh,
they
that's
can
what I'm
get
saying.
the.
Well, I know, but people are saying they
Yeah.
can see you through your TV.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Well,
not a
see,
thing.
this is why we have to have you, Sarah, to like tell us the real things and the things that are like, no, Mona, you're fine.
Yeah.
Sarah and I are new best friends.
If it's a gaming system, you might have a camera that you've attached to it
Right.
or something like that. But I would say 95% of the smart TVs out there do not have a camera.
Okay.
And
So we're safe.
So yeah, so you're safe on that. The best thing though to do with smart TVs, and I like to. So if my kid likes YouTube, which what kid doesn't like YouTube, I prefer if they don't so I won't let them have it on their phone, but they can watch YouTube on the TV, because the TV is nice and big, it's in a common area, and so that way you're walking by and you know exactly what they're watching because it's on the big screen. So, kind of moving that application from a smaller, more portable device to something larger is really helpful, I think, in
What a
helping
good tip.
prevent.
That is a really good tip. You need to do a
Thank
short on
you.
that one. You need to do a
Yeah.
short on that one. And also let us know that they can't see us through the thing.
Yeah.
You can say, I
didn't
talked to
even
this
know we
crazy
could do
lady.
that.
She was sure that people, she had a Band-Aid. You can tell her. I don't have a Band-Aid, but I was getting ready to do it.
Where though?
Well, I probably,
I know,
well, I guess it's that little red dot at the top. I don't know.
yeah, that's just for the remote control.
I wouldn't have been able to use my remote control.
Right. I mean, it's powerful enough it could go through a Band-Aid. But
Well, that's good. But oh my
yeah,
gosh, how funny.
not a big
Well,
deal.
there's tech truths and tech not truths, like truth or dare, I guess. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
well, and one of my things is, and I tell my friends this all the time, is, I have the curse of knowledge. And most people have the curse of knowledge for like all sorts. My sister has the curse of knowledge for cooking. I'm like, hey, I love your lasagna. Can you tell me how to make it? She's like, I don't know. I just throw everything together. And I'm like, that's not going to work for me. I need a recipe. So,
Miss Tech Girl.
right. Like I have to follow a recipe like to the T. I can't just like throw things together.
Oh
And
my
so I
gosh,
have the
that's
curse of
awesome.
knowledge with tech. And so a lot of times I don't know what people don't know.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
it's hard for me to like come up with content. I'm like, oh, everybody knows that. And like my friends are like, yeah, no, nobody knows that.
Yeah. That's like, I have the exact same thing with mothering and being married, because I've been married 45 years. And
Yeah.
people, I'm like, how do you not know to do that? Like,
Right.
you don't know that men do that? Well, here's what you do instead.
Yeah.
Um,
But back to the smart TVs, most of the apps have a way to create a profile that's for the kids. And so if you have your own profile that's pin protected and then a kid's profile that you've limited to like a specific age range, then they're only going to be able to access content in that age range. And so that's the main way to like really help protect a smart TV, is to just make sure you're going into every subscription that you have. If you have Netflix, they've got a pin profile for Netflix. If they have Amazon, then something for that. And just making sure all of those applications are protected so the kids aren't getting into like the R-rated content that
Yeah.
can be on those
That's
platforms.
good.
Yeah, and then the last part about smart TVs, different operating systems. So there's Roku, or there's an Amazon operating system. There's a Google operating system. Samsung has their own. So depending on what make and brand that you have, you can either block specific apps, so you can block Netflix, or you can block that, or pin protect any of them. I do have a whole video on like the different kinds of smart TVs and how to put parental controls on each.
No Band-Aid required. Hi, I hope you liked this episode of the Moms Like Us show. And if you did, I hope that you'll share it. You'll share it with another mom friend, because Moms Like Us do things like this. I also hope that you will check out the Moms Like Us Academy, where we take ideas like we've been talking about on the show, but we go deeper. We just don't get inspired and think, ooh, that's a really good idea. I think I want to try that. We actually learn how to do these things and why we need to. And then you know what? You have Mona, the mom mentor, and other master moms that teach the master classes in there. They come alongside, and we don't leave you alone. We help you implement and really, truly change your mom life into the mom life you've always wanted to have, because motherhood isn't a natural talent. It's a skill, sweetie, and you can learn it. So go and check out the Moms Like Us Academy today, and find me when you get there and say hi. Bye.